This is the Stereopsis.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Stereopsis. A friend of mine told me a story of how his first daughter actually isn't his own. Like, he's not the biological father of the girl. And he's very draining emotionally and psychologically torturing. And he was seeking my opinion on what he should do next. Although he got to know about this in earlier on, but as every day the child continues to grow, and I think every day he sees the child, it reminds him of the circumstances surrounding her birth. And actually, the small girl does not know anything yet. I think she's up to 6 or 7, and she doesn't know all the story. So the guy was seeking my opinion. What do I do? Should I send the girl to one of my aunties to go stay with so that he could actually relieve a lot of the emotional trauma he goes through every time this kind of feelings comes over him? So that takes me to what we're going to discuss today. Today we'll be talking about paternity fraud. And the story I just told you is one out of probably 1,000. There was this tweet I saw 2 days ago, and I think that was on not actually 2 days ago, 4 days ago. That was actually on 7th of March by Baron. He said, "Oh God, how do I begin to console a man who has 4 children and only one of them is his biologically? First, third, and fourth aren't his, only the second. Man is broken." Now, you see a lot of these stories flying around online, everywhere, every time. And what is actually paternity fraud? Now, paternity fraud is actually when the identity of the biological father of a child is deliberately misidentified. It could be from the mother, it could be from any other source. Now, there is this stat about Nigeria having 30% rate. Actually, it looks like it's not the data is not accurate, but somehow it is accurate because the only data we don't have the actual data on this, like every of the data in Nigeria, things concerning health and in other areas of life in Nigeria, is actually the data is exaggerated or actually underreported. So in this case, we only have the 30% 30% rate. That's all to have. That's actually from a clinic, a diagnostic center conducting DNA tests in Lagos, which showed their data. And the data shows that in every 10 of their results, 3 of them are negative. That is actually 30%. That's where the 30% came from. And also, we don't have any other data. So till an actual overall data is conducted, we're going to stick with this for now. So we're sticking around with the 30% for now. So having 30%, that's second after Jamaica. That's very, very high. And it's not surprising to anyone. Our society is morally on its lowest. It's on decline and speedily on decline. And is a function of where our society is. So the high rate of, I'm not surprised because you can imagine something like cheating is now a normal thing. Lying is just regarded as being smart. Nobody quarrels about that. The politician can come on air and tell you, yes, I'm going to do this. And when you get to that place, you won't do it. And after 4 years, he comes and says, that's not what I said. You can see a lot of even our politicians now. They said something at the time. You supported, you against subsidy removal. You became president and removed subsidy. These are the kind of things. Nobody cares about it anymore. And you can imagine double dating. Double dating is a normal thing. And some people see it as not putting all your eggs in one basket. That's what it is now. Is what is called double dating now. People see it as I'm not supposed to date one person and then. So with all this, the society is actually broken. Our value systems are down at this lowest. Nobody talks about value system. Nobody talks about standard anymore. And those are the foundations for all these things. When you get all this kind of thing wrong, no society can run without actually an ideology. And it seems like society is collapsed. No value system anymore. The person can do anything. Scam can be normal. And people are praising Yahoo boys up and down. So it's just one aspect of it. So nobody should be surprised about this. It's as seen as corruption is everywhere. It's in church, it's in school, it's everywhere. And we just have to deal with it. So sometimes another problem is how do we correct this? Where do you think is the reason for this? And my own thinking is that you could actually blame the partners, maybe the female to some extent. But when you know you can get away with it, when you know you can actually get away with those kind of things, or the chances of you being caught is very slim, then you're encouraged, you're emboldened to go into it more and more often. So if actually their test is very common and cheap anyway, then people can go into it, because I think it costs close to like $300 to conduct a DNA test. That's above 400,000 naira. Average family can't afford it. So you see where the problem comes from. And that's just the problem. So average family can't afford, even when they're interested in it. And most times it's really when a man has strong suspicion. That's when they go for it. Because according to research, most of the cases, most of the people who initiate the thing are mostly men. And although women also, but they are lower than the rate. And people who go for these DNA tests are between the ages of 31 to 40. So, and you could argue that the data could be wrong because the sample size and the demography of the sample size, because you could see that the composition of those things are mainly the Igbos and Yorubas, actually, because the center is in Lagos, and a lot of Igbos in Lagos also, followed by Port Harcourt and Abuja, having very negligible percentage, like 3% or thereabouts. So you could argue that the demography, the sample size of data is slim. So till we see more balanced and accurate data, we'll have to stick with this for now. And you may not really blame the women alone, or you have to also blame them, because everyone now, it's not actually everyone cheats, but women will tell you it's only when a woman cheats there's a problem that also a man cheats. But the problem is not cheating on the side of the woman. It's like when you get the result of your cheating, then place it on another person. That's actually the problem. And this thing is painful to especially the guys. You know, you've lived with this guy, you lived this girl for over a decade, and then a day comes when they tell you that this is no more your child. It's very, 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 very painful to the core. I would want the women to think about what they put this man through. Like, imagine having, like the chart I read, you imagine having 4 children, and after the DNA test, only the second one is yours. That means the first one, the third one, and the fourth one, this woman has been inside the deal, even inside the marriage. That's total wickedness. That's pure wickedness on the side of the man doing everything to take care of this family, taking care of everybody, and then, but like the case, the story I told you first, they are still living together. So there are circumstances that you may not really predict. They are still living together, and that thing is our cultural inclination to how we actually father a child. Sometimes in some cultures, even when you are pregnant and the guy gets married to you, the child becomes yours. Even when the man is aware of the situation, the child becomes, or even when you give him birth, the man, you give birth out of wedlock, and the man gets married to you, then the child becomes his own. Now, any child given, because according to research, this mostly happens in like the first children. So any child out of wedlock, the chances of that happening is very high. especially when the child was given, you gave birth outside wedlock. So, and it will be very wise that every child given out of wedlock, if you have the money, you should conduct a DNA test before accepting the child. I think it should be a wise counsel to any person. If you have any child out of wedlock, anyway, instead of running up around, accept when the child comes, you go conduct DNA. If it's yours, take responsibility of the whole thing. So, and another thing that is when I was preparing for this, and I began to think about it a lot, and I'm like, well, just imagine a married couple and they give birth and they want to go for DNA test. If the man demands for DNA test, it could actually bring problem in the marriage, because the woman will be like, so you don't trust me? Especially, I'm talking about when they're not having problems and they want to conduct, because I'm just thinking about, should there be DNA tests? Like in every of your child, you conduct DNA test. In every of your child, you conduct DNA test. Like if the men are demanding for DNA test, the woman will feel like, okay, why are you married to me if you don't trust me? Things like that. So, but it's something that can actually be done. It can actually be arranged between the two of them before marriage. Whenever any child comes, there will be DNA test. And I think that will put a lot of the women in check. Like, if you give birth, or conducting a DNA test. Things like that. So, when our children are coming, every of the child, there will be a DNA test. Like, if these things are agreed on before the marriage, and both parties are comfortable with it, I think it's something that will give everybody peace of mind in the marriage. Because when the test is done, either positive or negative, gives a lot of peace of mind to the man. Because he knows where he stands. If it's not his own, he can go get his own. If it's his own, he takes full responsibility of everything that comes out of it. So, and living with that the burden of being suspicious of these children not being yours. So, please, before you deliberately misidentify somebody's father, think about the implication of it.